Hello everyone, this is Ikhlaq Khan. Yesterday I have shared some of the important topics related with the chapter 5th of the money. I hope you must have memorized and learned that topic very well. The second part of the macroeconomics chapter 5th, that is money chapter, the second part of this chapter is the money supply. Today we will complete this portion, the portion of money supply. The previous portion what we have covered was related with the barter system. Over there we have discussed what is barter system, advantages, limitations of barter system. Then we have discussed the meaning of money, the how money's concept came into existence, the advantages, the functions of money, definitions, and these basic concepts. Today what we will be learning is the money supply. Money supply means the total volume of money held by public at a particular point of time in an economy. It is related with the total volume of money held by public at a particular point of time in an economy. So there are a few important terms which are related with the definition, that is total volume of money, then held by public, and one more concept is at the point of time. These three concepts are there which defines the value of money supply. It is not related with the normal supply concept. Money supply means total volume of money held by public at a particular point of time in an economy. Now under this, as we all know, there are point of time and a period of time. Two concepts are there. I have told you in chapter of national income two basic concepts, and that concept was related with stock and another concept was related with flow. So stock and flow that we have discussed. Flow is a concept which is related with a continuous period and a period of time, 1 year period, 6 year or 6 months, whereas stock is a concept which is related with the point of time. So money supply is related with the point of time. It is not related with the period of time, but it is related with a particular point of time on a particular date. Features of money supply. Money supply has two main features. First feature of money supply is the money held by public only. As I told you in the definition, total volume of money held by public. Point of time is clear to you, and we are discussing it period of time. Then features of money supply. Money held by public only means this money will include, money supply will include only the money held by public only, because in an economy there might be two kind of sectors: money using sector, this one sector, and the money creation sector. Two sectors can be there, money using sector and money creating sector. When we talk about money supply, we are talking about the money held by the money using sector. And who are the member of money using sector? There are two member of money using sector. These are individuals and the business firm. The total volume of money held by individual and the business firm in a point of time is known as money supply. I hope now the definition is clear to you. Because there is one more sector which is related with the money creating sector. Even this money creating sector, it includes government and the banking system. They also have money, but in money supply we are not including the money that government have and that the banking system have. We are including only the money that the individual and the Yes, we will continue with the next topic, that is measures of money supply. Till now we have discussed the money supply and the basic features of money supply, that money is held by the public only because there are two sectors, money creating sector and the money using sector, stock concept and all. Now we will discuss the next concept which is related with the measures of money supply. When we talk about measures of money supply, so how measures of money supply means these are the concepts which were designed by RBI and how RBI measures the money supply in an economy. The measures of money supply, RBI started in the period of 1967 and 1968. Though the RBI, the Central Bank of India, was set up in the year of 1935. It was 1967 and 1968 the first time RBI has defined some measures of money supply, and RBI uses a narrow measure during that time. Later on, after 10 years, in the period of 1977, in 1977 again RBI has enhanced and has derived a broader concept for money supply. 4 alternate measures RBI has now introduced over here. Now these 4 alternate measures are with the name M1, M2, M3 M4. These are the four alternate measures for money supply: M1, M2, M3 and M4. Now let us move towards the first concept, which is related with the M1 concept. M1 is a concept. These concepts M1, M2, M3 and M4 are based on money supply. So first concept is M1. M1 includes three basic things. First is the currency and coin with the public, that is the currency and coin with the public. Second, demand deposits with the commercial bank. Third, other deposits with the RBI. M1 includes three concepts: currency and coin with the public, demand deposits of the commercial bank, and next the other deposits with the RBI. Now currency and coin must be clear to you. What is these basic concepts? We will be discussing the demand deposits of the commercial bank yesterday, and the video I shared with you, on that we have already discussed that the demand deposits and time deposits are two main deposits with the banks. Demand deposits are the deposit which can be demanded by the customer at any point of time, whereas time deposits are those deposits which can be demanded on a particular, after completing a particular period only. So I think this concept is clear to you. Then currency and coins. Over here the currency money is also known as the legal tender money, and it is also known as the fiat money. Legal tender money or fiat money. Currency money is also known as legal tender money and fiat money. So legal tender money means one of the power of currency that to be accepted to repay off all the debt. It's a legal power of the money. Then fiat money means something which is government has approved it. Fiat money, it can be like defined as a money which under the fiat or order from the government to act as a money. Under the law it must be accepted for all debt, and also termed as legal tender money, legally used to make the payment of debt or other kind of obligations. So I hope the meaning of currency money, which is also known as fiat money or legal tender money, is clear to you. Then it also includes one of the more concept, that is the transaction money. M1 is also known as a transaction money. Why it is known as a transaction money? Because it is useful for day-to-day business transaction, whatever needs, whatever requirement are there. That is the reason why it is also known as a transaction money. And it only includes when we talk about the other deposits with the RBI, so it includes deposits held by RBI on behalf of foreign banks and government. Other deposits of RBI. So other deposits of RBI means the deposits held by RBI on behalf of foreign bank and government. Public financial institutions are also there. For example, World Bank, then IMF, this will be there. However, it does not include deposits of the Indian government and commercial bank with the RBI. So I hope M1 concept is clear to you. Measurement of money or the measures of money supply, there are four concepts: M1, M2, M3, M4. M1 means currency and coin with the public, demand deposits of commercial bank, and other deposits with the RBI. It is also known as transaction money. Currency money is also known as legal tender money or fiat money. Then we will be discussing the next concept, which is related with the M2. M2 is a concept which can be defined as M1 plus there is one more concept M1. Along with M1, it includes saving deposits with the post office bank. It includes saving deposits with post office saving. Post office saving bank. So M2 is a concept which deals with the M1 plus saving deposits with the post office saving bank. And what is saving deposits? Saving deposit with post office saving bank is not withdrawal by check like the demand deposit, which can be withdrawal by check also at any point of time, which includes the part of M1. But M2 has the part along with M1 plus saving deposit with the post office. These saving deposits cannot be withdrawn as the checks by demand deposit, as the demand deposits can be withdrawn. I hope M2 concept is also clear to you. The next concept is the concept which is related with the M3. In M3, what is the basic difference? That M1 plus net time deposits with bank, net time deposits with bank. The time deposits and demand deposits are two main concepts that we have already discussed. Time deposits means the deposits which are done for a fixed period of time. M3 includes M1 plus net time deposits with the bank, which can be withdrawn after completing a particular time period only. Next concept is the concept which is related with the M4. M4 is a concept which deals with the M3 plus total deposits with post office saving bank, but excluding NSC. NSC means the National Saving Certificates. So M4 means M3 plus total deposits with post office saving banks excluding NSC. NSC means National Saving Certificates. So these are the concepts regarding the measures of four basics measures of money supply. The first measure that we have discussed is the M1, money supply meaning. If money supply meaning is clear, then only you will be able to understand the concept of M1, M2 and M3. If you don't have clear meaning of money supply, then please go back to the video and again get clear your points of money supply. Then only comes to the point of money measures of money supply, which includes M1, currency and coin with the public. We have discussed the currency, which is also known as the fiat money, legal tender money. M1 concept is a transaction money concept. Then currency and coin with public, demand deposit with commercial bank, other deposit with the RBI. After M1, the next concept is the concept which is related with the M2. M2 is M1 plus saving deposits with the post office saving bank. Saving deposits means the deposit which can be not be withdrawn by simple checks and all. Then M3, M1 plus net time deposits with the bank, and time deposits means the deposits which are for a fixed period of time. M4 is M3 plus total deposits with the post office saving banks excluding NSC. NSC means the National Saving Certificates. Then I hope the concept of these is clear to you. There are certain important points also. 1 and 2 important fact and the point of differentiation over here is the difference between the two basic concepts, that is the money, which is represented by M, and one more concept is there which is known as which is represented by H. The word H over here is for high powered money. Money and high powered money, these are the two basic concepts that you also need to learn nicely. The concept of money consists of currency, as we have known, and demand deposits. Currency and demand deposits, while the high powered money consists of currency and cash reserve with the bank. Currency and cash reserve with the bank. Currency is common in both money and high powered money. Currency is common in both, though in money along with currency it includes the demand deposits, but in high powered money along with currency it includes the cash reserve with the bank. It means currency held by the public common in both of them. The only difference in that money includes demand deposits of bank, while high powered money includes the cash reserves with the bank. Then in this way I think the concept of money and high powered money is also clear to you. The concept of M1, M2, M3 and M4 is clear to you. There are certain other important measures which are related over here regarding M1, M2 and M3. What happened? The word M1 and M2, they are broadly known as the narrower money concept. Why they are known as narrow money concept? Because they are more liquid, that's why they are known as narrow money concept. Whereas there are two more terms which is related with the M3 and M4. The term M3 and M4 are broad concept. They are broad money concept. They are broad money concept. And M1 and M2 narrow money concept. Why it is so? Because of liquidity. Liquidity means the ability to convert it into cash. Like M1 is the most liquid, whereas M4 is the least liquid. Means the M1 content can be converted easily into cash, though M4 content requires a little bit more time to be converted into cash. That's why M1 and M2 they are considered as narrower money concept, and M4 and M3 they are considered as broader money concept. When we talk about liquidity, liquidity means the ability to convert money into means the normal things into normal currency and cash. So M1 is the most liquid, that is the reason why it is known as transaction money, and M4 is the least liquid. I hope the topic and the whole chapter of money is clear to you. If you have any doubt, please let me know. If you have any such confusion and all, please let me know. You can message me also. And I hope you are learning and doing your preparation is going well. If you have any such suggestions, please let me know, and we will continue with the next chapter of this unit, which is related with the banking from macro unit, second unit portion. This was the first chapter which is completed. I hope you all are clear with it. Thank you very much.